So our topic we're going to inform you about is educating students about democracy. We're going to do this in 4 sections. The first one is democratic schools and classrooms. The second one is what gets in the way of democratic classrooms. The third one is democratic classroom practices. And our last one is resources and recommendations. And now we have a quote for you from John Dewey. Education is not an affair of telling and being told, but an active and constructive process.
So a democratic school builds a community within the school in each classroom. This is done by having daily or weekly class meetings, working together towards shared goals, giving meaningful compliments, and most importantly, letting students have a voice. Students also need an understanding of the actual community that they live in, so they can understand what is going on around them. In a democratic classroom, the learning is real and relevant. It is meaningful to your students. It is also what each individual student needs, and every student gets the same opportunity. Every classroom is unique and connected to each student. Lastly, a democratic school gives choice and control for both teachers and students. These are factors that could or do get in the way of democratic classrooms and schools. Choice in where money is distributed in districts affects how a democratic school is run. State and local mandates get in the way because each district must follow the directions, policies directed towards what they can or cannot teach. As a community can help a democratic school, it can also hurt it. Public attitudes towards change and the lack of support for the change affect the outcome of a democratic school. Teachers being isolated from other teachers hinders collaboration across grade levels. A school size can cause problems from lack of money or resources. Lastly, like state mandates, too much paperwork can get in the way of really transforming a school into a democratic school.
So now we have democratic classroom practices. So these are the 10 things that we think are the most important. So the first one is involving students in creating a classroom constitution, which should be done at the beginning of the school year. Next is building a strong classroom community via doing a daily morning meeting. The next is giving students choice in the curriculum. So this means letting students kind of help the teacher decide what they're going to be learning about. After is engaging in service learning projects. So having students go out into the community and do an act of service while also applying that to the curriculum that you're learning. Also inviting community members into the classroom as guest speakers is key to a democratic classroom because it immerses students in the community and gets them aware of the different people that are serving them and working in the community that they live and go to school in. Also allow students to conduct research on topics that are important to them, because if students are kind of immersed in things that they really want to research and learn more about, then they're more likely to want to pursue that outside of the classroom, which will lead to a possible career and becoming a good citizen, which is key to a democracy. Also, having students create a wonder notebook. So when students have something that they're really curious about, having them write it down in a notebook, and then maybe that could lead to some of their research topics that they're interested in learning about. It also helps them build that curiosity and constant ability to question, which is also crucial to a democracy. Frequently use the phrases, I don't know, and how can we find out? So this is more for the teacher to use or anyone in the classroom setting that's an authority figure. So asking, how can we find out if a kid has a question? Just letting them kind of lead the exploration, and also saying, I don't know, because it's awesome to model for kids how we don't know everything and we have to look things up and constantly learn more and bring upon ourselves the desire to learn new information. Immersing students in the community by taking field trips is also critical because kids get out and can see the actual buildings, the services, and the things that exist in their community, and they can see how their learning is helping them eventually contribute to that community one day. And lastly is reading Ban This Book by Alan Gratz. So this is a picture of Ban This Book, and I would recommend this for about an upper elementary, early middle school level, but you could use it as an interactive read aloud in younger grades. And it models for students what free speech looks like and how you should always stand up for what you believe in. I definitely recommend researching this book to see what it's about and how you can use it in your democratic classroom.
Now we have some resources and recommendations. For books, like Kristen mentioned, Ban This Book is good for kids. The other 3 books on the screen are good for teachers or if you want to learn about democracy. Teacher Wars is about people and history. Literacy and Power teaches you about critical literacy and the language and power of language. And then Democratic Schools shows good examples of democratic classrooms. Next are movies. Just Mercy, The Trial of Chicago 7, and 13th. Just Mercy shows you about the justice system and how death row is flawed. And The Trial of Chicago 7 is similar, showing you about the justice system. And then 13th is about slavery and the war on drugs. Some websites to use with kids is Kid Explorer, which has information about the elections, the Electoral College, and a bunch of resources to use. And then this link right here for Brain Pop is about Tim and Moby teaching you about democracy.
And in conclusion, we came up with an acronym which would be helpful to use in the classroom with students or when you're teaching any child about what a democracy is. So the D stands for dissent, which is disagreeing, and that's a critical piece of living a democratic life. Also, the E stands for equity, equality, and empathy. It could be one of these, all 3, whichever one you choose to teach. M is milieu, which is the culture of the school. O is open-mindedness and being willing to listen to new perspectives and take on new ideas that you're hearing from others. C is choices, so giving kids or anyone in a democracy choice is also a crucial element. R is for remaining informed, so this is also key to becoming and remaining a good citizen, is constantly staying informed of what's going on and what's happening in the democratic society or classroom that they're living and working in. A is for asking questions. C is for community, which we need to build in order to have a well-running democracy. And Y is your voice matters. So all of these words corresponding with the letters can be helpful for kids to remember what a democracy means when you're teaching students about a democracy. So thank you so much for listening and watching. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Larissa, Caitlin, or myself, and we would be happy to give you some more resources or answer any of your questions. Thank you.